Guys are ready everywhere.
Cool. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Don Blackwell, or I go by DonBeEZe on Instagram and social media. I'm here with my good friend Randy Haskell. This is the 86 podcast. This is the second. Well, we'll consider this the first one or the first one. The audio was just horrible. But basically, the 86 podcast is about bouncers, security. I used to be a bouncer. Randy used to be a bouncer, but it's just different stories and adventures that we had when we were doing security. I worked at the Boogie, and that's where I met Randy. Why don't you go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself, Randy?
Yeah, like Don said, I bounced with him at the Boogie from about, I want to say like 99 or 2000 till about 2005, 2006. And at the time, and still to this day, I will tell you, there was no club that touched that place as far as craziness. Like, no way. Like, the fire marshal's not listening, and I think the statute of limitations is passed. It was, I worked the front door for a long time, and it was about a 1,600 person capacity, and I promise you there was 3,000 people in that joint every single night. So, it was crazy. So, he kind of wants to get into some stories, so I think that's what we're here for.
Just one sec. Boy, shut your mouth out there, mama. What's some ass? We're doing a show right now. Thank you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Thank you. That's John De La O, our jiu-jitsu instructor. I would have got real crazy right now, but probably whooped my ass. So he'll be a guest here in a minute. But anyways, so Randy, did you first start at the front at the Boogie, or where did you start at?
Oh, no, not at all. Started like everybody else. I think I started watching the smoke pit. It was like a little chain link fence area that maybe was supposed to have 200 people in it, and actually had probably 400 or 500 in it normally, and that's where I probably hurt my lungs more than anything, being there. And then from there, just kind of proved that I could handle myself, worked my way up, and then the owner and the manager at the time kind of were like, hey, how would you like to try the front door? And I'm like, why would I want to work the front door? And one of the other door guys was a friend of mine. It's like, because you're going to make a lot of money. And I was like, I want to work the front door. Let's do that then. Let's start doing that. So, yeah, I kind of worked my way from the bottom to the top was the front door kind of at the time, or the manager.
Yeah, that's where we kind of differed. When I got hired on, I worked on the inside and would look for fights, or if the Boogie was oversold at capacity, and it was so messed up, but we would get the call on the radio. Anybody, because he had to dress appropriately with collared shirt or whatnot, and folks would come in there and they'd start dancing, they get hot, and they take off their shirt. So if the fire marshal was there, we got the call. Anybody who was not wearing a collared shirt got kicked out. So we'd just be grabbing people, and I felt so bad, just grabbing fools and just kicking them. What's going on, bro? What's happening, man? And just freaking booting them out, man. But let me scoot back. So we met at the Boogie. In regards to martial arts, because the only reason I got a job at the Boogie, because I didn't know nobody at the time. The only reason I got a job is because a few good friends of mine that I ended up becoming friends with, Chris Dre, is one of those people. But I started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a school named Franco de Camargo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who was one of Carlson Gracie's first few black belts. That was the only reason I got a job there. Would have probably not even got hired. I'm not a very big guy per se, but you were also studying martial arts as well. Where were you studying at?
I was actually, at the time, I had been kickboxing for a few months, and then a friend of mine was like, hey, this UFC world champion trains over here. Like, it was like literally like 5 blocks from my work. And this is like 98 or 99 at the time. And I'm like, yeah, sure, UFC champion, okay. So I drive down there to check this out with this guy at lunch, and sure enough, this dude's got pride belts on the wall, UFC championship belts on the wall, and it's this monster of a man, Marco Ruas. So if you're familiar with the UFC, he won it when it was still a tournament format. Yeah, still to this day, probably one of the scariest, meanest dudes ever. To give you some perspective, I was about 185 pounds at the time, and he was probably 40 years old and 250 with like 1% body fat. And I did a move at the time called the triangle on him, where I had my legs wrapped around his head and arm, and he's 6'3" probably, picks me up over his head, power bombs me on the mat. Like if you watch fights like Rampage did to a guy in Pride. Yeah, literally power bomb me in the mats. Or if you watch wrestling, atomic power bomb me through the mat. My knee flung into my nose, busted my nose wide open, like exploded in blood. And he steps back and goes, "Oh, what happened, my friend?" I'm like, "What do you mean what happened? You just power bombed me through your mat to get out of a move." Like,
yeah.
So, so through that, I think me and you started talking like, I'm training here, I'm training there, and neither one of us like had a real like set path. We were kind of like just kind of going through the motions, I guess. But at the time, with where we were working, you know, these are drunk 18 to 23-year-old kids, and we're probably 22, 23 at the time too, but not drinking. So, and with a little bit of martial arts experience and skill, it kind of became like they were bringing a wagon and we were in a bike race, right? So like, that's what bouncing became to me. It came like, all right, you're going to be drunk and stupid, and I have a little bit of skill, a little bit of aggression, and a little bit of training. Like, it's not going to go well for you, so like, don't push my buttons.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you would, in my case, I would learn a technique or a takedown, and then like I would
try
just
it out that weekend.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd be in the back, be like stretching and stuff, and be like, dude, for a while I was wearing like knee pads in case like I was shooting in on people to take them down and stuff.
People used to make fun of me all the time. I had the elbow, like I
remember
arm wraps or whatever. And they'd be like, "This douchebag, you're not playing basketball." And I'm like, "Just wait till we hit the carpet, because you're gonna have rug burns all over your face, and I'm not gonna have them on my arms."
And so both of us kind of left those schools for whatever different reasons, and we continued our friendship through a different school that we're both still at now, and one that you're actually a black belt. I'm a 2-stripe purple belt because I'm a lagger and I don't really feel as much as I should.
Because you were consistently inconsistent.
I'm consistently inconsistent, but I'm working towards my brown belt, so you know, we'll see. But tell us a little bit about yourself in regards to De La O Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so at the time, I was training with, like I said, Marco Huas, and through that, I was getting just destroyed, like, once we went to grappling, like, because he was teaching a mixed martial arts style, all the way from the feet, striking, and then a little bit on the ground, but he wasn't really a jiu-jitsu guy, so not much. If you're on the ground, he was punching, passing, and trying to mount and finish, basically.
Yeah.
Not a lot of submissions. If they were submissions, they were high-level submissions. So a couple of guys that were training there told me, "Hey, you got to go train your ground." Like, they would just tap me stupid, like, just own me. And they're, "Hey, you got to go check out this dude, Chris Brennan, up the street. He's a jiu-jitsu guy."
The West Side Strangler.
Yeah, the West Side Strangler.
Yes.
So I started training with him at his school for about a year, just jiu-jitsu. And I left Marco's school when I realized, like, in 6 months of being there, I had learned, you know, what 6 years could have done, you know, at the time, because it was an American who spoke my language. It was very easy to communicate, and he wasn't holding back, right? He wasn't holding back. Well, through that, he had moved away about a year into my training. He moved to Texas, and you were training with John De La O, and me and you were still friends working at the Boogie, and you're like, "Hey, dude, come over here. Dude, John has one of the toughest rims in Orange County, if not Southern California, if not the state." And I'm like, "All right, cool. Sounds like a good deal." Went over there, and didn't. The rest is history. Actually, there is a story to that. Actually, it's a funny story too. Is I emailed John first because Chris Brennan had got his black belt from John. It's his original black belt. So I emailed John, and I'm like, "Hey, you know, I'm training over here, and I'd like to do this." And he's very cordial, very nice. "Yes, anytime you want to come down, come talk to me, try it. This is what we do. This is where we're at." Very nice. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." Well, I had a couple detailed questions I want to ask him. "Oh, like, what about this? What about that?" And he basically cut me off at that second email and was like, "Listen, I'm not going to sit here and play games on the internet. Like, just come down here. I'm not going to be able to teach you nothing about me, my school, or what we do typing on this computer. So just get in here if you want to. Otherwise, I'm not going to take it serious." And I'm like, "Whoa, who is this guy? Like, he's a bad mother effer, or he's so busy." On his mind. I said, so I found out I was a little bit of both. But if you know John now, that guy can't get off of Facebook. So now it's a funny story because he told me, like, "Hey, like, we're not going to play games on the computer." And now he doesn't get off there. So now it becomes a funny story because he's like, "I'm not going to waste 2 minutes to type back to you." but now it's like, we got to get him 2 minutes. You got to feed him a crossword puzzle or something to get him off of Facebook. You're like, "Sir, I have a crossword puzzle over here." And then he'll get off for you. So, but yeah, since I walked in the door of that place, I never looked back. I just, I'm there. The only person that's there more than me most days is John DeLo himself. And that's a cool thing about his school too. Got to remember, his name's on the door, so he's teaching 99% of the classes, and that's a big deal. When you go to another school, if you go to a, not to be offensive, but a Hoist Gracie or a Hickson Gracie school,
You won't roll with any of the higher belts.
The most of the time, those guys aren't teaching. They'll teach a seminar once every few months, once a year, whatever it is, and they'll charge you for it. You're learning from one of their proteges or their student, which is fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to pay for that name, I'd like that person to be teaching me, especially at the level I'm at now. Like, I'm not paying to work with somebody that's done the same thing as me. I want to pay for somebody that paved the way.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what's really cool too is you're making this into a career and building your own brand now. Sure. I mean, the shirt Darkside, which is badass. Freaking, tell us a little bit about that, man.
Okay, so I'm trying from the ground floor to start my own program now. Right now, it's based solely on personals out of John's dojo for now, until I can have enough of my own base to open my own school, which is in the process of happening. But Darkside JiuJitsu isn't just like, it's the dark side of jiu-jitsu. I was born on May 4th, which is, as you know, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Yep.
So I've always had a passion for Star Wars, but I never rooted for the Jedi. Like, Darth Vader was always my favorite. And I'm like, these mother effers had the Death Star. Like, come on, like it was over. Like, it was over. Let's just start blowing up planets, right? And when I say blow up planets, now it becomes real funny, right? We're gonna blow up some planets, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do with Darkside JiuJitsu is start like taking over, my own program until it blows up. Right, and that's what Darkside JiuJitsu is. It's not the dark side of jiu-jitsu. It's not like, we're gonna do all heel hooks and footlocks and not wear the gi. It's Darkside JiuJitsu. We're gonna take over an empire.
And that's what's really cool. Like training and rolling with you, your style. Even though we've trained under John, your style is quite a bit different. I mean, a lot of it is you've traveled to Chris's school and you learn from it. So you bring a lot of stuff, and you're so open-minded in how you teach stuff.
Yeah.
You break it down, and you're not so, this is the way it is because that's how it is. There's different, like you say, there's different paths or there's a sequence to moves, and you break them down. You make sure that people understand them and stuff. So that's why I love freaking training with you, man, because I always learn something new from you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So that's kind of my philosophy is like, it's not going to be Randy Haskell Jiu-Jitsu. It's not Don Blackwell Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's you take a culmination of things you have learned and you adapt them to what works for you. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. So I can get you to a position, but I can give you options from that position, and you can pick and choose what's going to be best for you. It doesn't have to always be black and white. Like, no, Don, don't do that. You can do this. It's, here you are, Don, in this position. You could do this. That's not working well for me. I don't take offense to that. Okay, what about this? Do this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give you any bad options, right? I'm going to give you a series of options to where you're going down one path and you'll have 4 outlets at the end of your road, right? And they're all going to get you to a good spot or a better spot or a finish, a kill spot. But it's not close the door. It's not you go this way, you tried this move, you failed. Okay, back up to square one. No, you went down this path. You didn't miss. You just have to go to the next series, the next sequence in that path.
Well, that's been Jiu-Jitsu Hour with Don Blackwell.
What happened there?
Oh, dude, I know we kind of went off into the weeds there, but so let's get back to when you were a bouncer. Tell me about a time, because we both know the fights there, the situations we've been in together or by ourselves have been crazy. Tell me one of the crazier fights that you got into.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot, dude. I'm not even being exaggerative about the way that club was. It was a lot of things. It was the diversity that was in that club. It was the location of it, because it was right in between like 3 major freeways. It was right in the border of Orange County, which means you got LA County, South Orange County, and Orange County. So you had this huge mix of people in there, and then we overpacked it, which was, at the time, we thought was funny and cool, but it's recipes for disaster. And so I fought more in that club than I will ever fight in any sanction. I mean, like 100 times over. I mean, we would fight Thursday, Friday, and Saturday every weekend for years, you know. And when I say fight, I mean like straight brawls. And that's where it came to having jiu-jitsu in your back pocket would save you from seriously injuring somebody. To where
because they didn't want us cracking people.
We would be in jail. If you're punching them in the mouth every single time, and sometimes you had to, I'm not gonna lie, but if we were doing that every weekend, every night, like you're gonna get assault charges, and there was plenty of bouncers arrested. But the craziest story that I can still remember in my head was actually about, and you'll remember this one pretty well. There was about 40 or 50 Asian gangsters. Okay?
Thursday night.
Thursday night was like kind of like in Asian night, but not unofficial Asian night.
Don't worry, I won't get
and then Saturday was kind of unofficially hip hop night. So we got the LA gangs at that time. But Thursday nights were crazy. The Asians came out in force, and what was crazy about them was they stuck together. So when one of them fought, they all fought, and the crazy and cool thing about the Asians was they would fight and they would normally get stomped bad because they were small guys, you know, and we had 50 or 60 bouncers on staff between our inside and outside, and they had 30 or 40, and they were on a dance floor of a few hundred probably, and they had people on the dance floor and people outside the dance floor, and it was elevated above. There was about a 3 or 4 step drop, and that's where the bar stools and bartenders, and so their buddies were fighting people on the dance floor and fighting security. And everybody from the elevated platform just started throwing bar stools like out onto the floor. And so as we're like grappling and wrestling and fighting, like 20 of them, there's 20 or 30 like bar stools coming at you, tables. I mean, they threw everything they could pick up and was able to be thrown in that place on. So as you're fighting, you're getting hit in the head with bar stools. You're getting knocked to the ground. You're picking people up next to you. You're like,
dude, I'd be using other people to like
shields, right? Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. And what was crazy about the Asian people, every time we like rough somebody up, we'd take them outside and, we're gonna sue you, we're gonna sue you, we're gonna sue you. And
or they're gonna pull a gun.
But the Asian like guys, when they would just leave, okay? But this time they got outside, and the next thing we just hear is a car, and then one of them pulls out an assault rifle and just starts shooting. I mean, like 40 or 50 gunshots, and you just see cars going everywhere. Like I said, there's 3,000 people in this club, and I'm at the front door at the time, and there's probably 500-600 people in line, and where do they want to go? They all want to go in to get away from the gunshots. And literally there was 4 or 5 or 6 of us trying to hold the front door down, fighting normal people. These weren't even the people that were fighting. These were like people fearing for their lives, and we're fighting to keep them out. We're fighting to get the Asian gangsters out. We're fighting to keep people from going in. It was like nuts. So like after that one, that was probably the craziest incident, but I mean, there was so many like that, man. That's just one that stands out because of the gunshots. It forced 500 or 600 people try to get in the front door when we're already trying to get people out. Like then all these people don't want to get shot because the gunshots are outside, so they want to get in. The other people are trying to get out, and we're like.
I think that night, luckily, nobody got hit. They were just
nobody was shot that night.
That night, yeah.
That night,
right? There's been. About 2 or 3 people lost their lives during the time the club was open until it was shut down, huh?
Yep. Yeah. Christmas Eve.
I almost got shot. I don't know if you remember.
Christmas Eve, the security officer got ran over and shot and killed.
Shot him. Yeah. There was I think he's a Filipino guy that was like really good friends with Chris. Hey, Chris, you come on the show, buddy. Big show. Huh? But he would park right on the side, and a big fight broke out that Thursday night, and I don't know what Asian gang it was, but they were trying to jump him, and we were trying to protect him. And he was so drunk, he popped the trunk of his car, and I was trying to fight the guys that were trying to get at him. He was trying to pull an AK-47 out of his, and he got arrested for that. He did time for that. And when I was asking him when he was coming, I'm like, did you not see? I was right there, man. He's like, I'm gonna kill this fool. Like, you would have shot me too, man. So that was a pretty crazy.
Yeah, we had a lot of friends. Art got stabbed, you know, like just trying to do their job, you know, like, and sometimes. Like people are drunk like that. They think we're acting tough, and sometimes we were. Sometimes there's no lies there. Sometimes we were, but it was always escalated off them being drunk and trying to posture on us. So then it was like the situation always become more escalated. Somebody taking one step higher.
Yeah. Oh, they're showing pictures. Yeah, I don't look like that anymore, unfortunately.
Well, wherever my pictures are from there, I definitely don't look like that either.
You guys posted pictures of him too. You know what? Why don't we take a moment to bring in our instructor who we've been talking about, and I consider a good friend and a brother. He's shaking his head. That's all right, John. You know I didn't pay my dues yet this month.
No, you didn't. You're about to.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to. So, this is John De La O. Why don't you grab a mic here and sit down and make yourself comfortable? And
Here you go. Now you're not allowed to leave home with it.
oh. Well, thank you. So take a seat and let's talk.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Check.
Check 1.
Can you hear John?
Am I on?
Is he good?
All right. Hello, gentlemen.
All right,
Randy.
Well, sir.
Big D.
sir.
Yes.
Oos.
Oos.
What's going on?
Well, we're just here bullshitting and talking when we used to be bouncers.
I'm sorry, I was in catering. I was enjoying the fine spread you guys put out for us.
Of course, we do things big here at the.
Hello, everyone in the interwebs. Your friendly analog warrior, John De La O, making his way into the digital age. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about bouncing.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Bouncing,
So you tell us.
door hosting, security. What else? What other?
Bribe taking.
Water,
Money, yeah.
Hustling.
Hustling.
What watered down generic terms did they use for I remember we were door hosts, doormen.
Well, when Roadhouse came up, you were the cooler.
So speaking of Roadhouse, that's one cool, unique thing about the Boogie. That's where Roadhouse was filmed at.
Yeah.
If you guys,
You know what? And we touched on this once before. I bounced in other parts of the world, northern, western Canada, places like that, and
Places you don't want to visit, more or less work.
Yeah. There was always this buzz, about the movie Roadhouse, because frankly, that's one of the best movies about bouncing ever made, probably. Wait.
Is it the only
Is it
one?
the only movie?
Yeah, probably the only one.
Any case, I would tell people, I've actually been to the Boogie, but of course, when I went there, it was called, I think, the Cowboy Boogie. Cowboy Boogie. And I remember when I was a kid, it was called like Bandstand and all these other
Same
things.
owner the whole time, too. That was crazy.
So when I told them, not only had I been there, that I knew guys that actually did bounce there, they were like, oh my God, really? Like it was like some sort of instant street cred, or should I say, bar cred.
Fun fact about that one, it was the Cowboy. Like the Cowboys were so crazy, they would serve bottles, and Cowboys were just breaking them over each other's heads. Security said the Cowboys is the reason why they stopped serving beers in glass, like in Orange County, because they would start breaking bottles over everybody and everything.
Well, and you know what? I think. It was kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Well, when the Cowboy Boogie, the Boogie, when it was the Cowboy, it was Bandstand. There was something else. It was a disco before.
Warehouse, I think.
Yeah.
Warehouse, yeah.
A lot of the clientele that came, this was before our time even, they were from the Marine base, right? So you had guys from Arkansas, Texas, kind of stuff like that. When they closed down Altoa Marine Base, I think maybe their clientele was a little more urban.
Well, Pendleton.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yep.
I was just going to say.
Some of our biggest fights
were
a lot of those
21 to make a profit
That's
because it was
madness.
dying out.
Yeah.
So he went from 18 to 21, and the Marines would graduate from Pendleton fresh out of boot camp, and they would bust those dudes in like 50 and 100 of them at a time, and they would come in there and not even 21, just like have people buy them drinks, sneak them or they'd be pissed drunk before they got in, and they were just as crazy.
One of the few times I got cracked good was by a Marine. I'll tell. So
look at these pictures.
I love that hair.
So another fun fact here, like I have a red shirt on there. That's when we started. Like we had these red shirts that kind of look like bowler shirts or whatever.
Like jerseys.
The cops used to call us the Red Sea and started gang filing all of us, taking pictures and getting all of our names because we were roughing people up so bad and fighting people so often that they gang filed us and banned us from wearing the red shirts, put us in white shirts with numbers on. With numbers. Look at this. Is Kevin Tarvin right here.
That's Kevin Tarvin. He looks like he ate Kevin Tarvin. Oh my God!
We're trying to get Kevin on the show still. So
So
he wouldn't be able to fit on. Look,
Kevin, big dudes. Hey, Ronnie
is at least half that size and is still bouncing right now.
Hey, Full Contact Fanatics. I watched the show and like
Damn.
I like how you guys talk about fat jitsu and 24-hour fatness, and yeah, I'm looking at you, Dondo, standing right there. And then you immediately bring up my name. I know I'm big, I'm half Samoan, but come on, man, I just like oh, thanks. Thank you.
Half Samoan.
Yeah. We were just talking about that too.
Hey, I think I like rolling. I mean, I know I'm a bigger dude, but
I wouldn't go as far to call him fat. Motherfucker, Simone, what's he gonna do?
You carry it well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look at Don right here, skinny Don.
That's right. Looks like I hate him.
So I don't know if you guys know this or not, and I'm one, like I said, you probably haven't read the newspapers in 10, 20 years.
Newspaper again?
Exactly. But in the Orange County Register, I had read after you guys stopped bouncing at the boogie that after it had gotten shut down, the officers who actually shut that place down got an award from the city. The city gave them
they were trying for a long time to shut it down
for shutting down a business.
So that's another funny story too. We had a kind of a off manager at the time, Johnny Mans.
Yeah.
He was kind of a manager, kind of not,
Yeah,
like off the books kind of manager.
Yeah.
And he used to rough people up bad, and he'd take them out.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and the dudes would always tell him, I'm going to sue this place. I'm going to shut this place down. And the owner was on a handshake lease with the landowner for over 25 years.
Wow.
And Disney was trying to have that property forever. And he used to tell her, hey, listen, motherfucker, Mickey Mouse can't shut this place down. He's got way better lawyers than you, so good luck. See ya.
A la verga, yeah. You know what?
So yeah, but yeah, they finally did.
It was a matter of time because it slowly started getting out. I mean, we brought in, aside from our security, we hired armed security, and then that still wasn't enough. And NIPD had to be there every single night.
Yeah, as we were talking about doing this, I was like wondering like how.
And then we had to search the cars, every car coming in, we searched them for guns, and we'd find them.
I was wondering about that because you don't see that. Like, I try to tell people how like bad that place was and how crazy it was. We had an armed security force that was walking around with paintball guns, okay, and NIPD was cool with this. The NIPD used to set a cop out front too, like because something was going to happen. It wasn't if, it was when.
Yeah.
So they just had a car there the whole time we were open, just sitting there, waiting to take people away or whatever. But the armed security was walking around with paintball guns filled with pepper spray, and I've never seen that.
Oh, those pepper balls, yeah.
I've never seen that to this day. So we would get in a scuffle.
Dog the bounty hunter
we would. Yeah, we would get in a scuffle. Yeah, dog. But that's TV,
That's
and they're going after one or two people. This is a club of 3,000. So we'll get in a skirmish. 5 or 10 of the bouncers and 10 people, and they're just boom, 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 just launching pepper balls into the crowd, and you're just getting hit. They don't care. They don't care if you're hitting bouncers as long as it broke up the thing. And then they're just grabbing people. Just grabbing people. And I was like, that's how crazy that place was. They were walking around with paintball guns filled with pepper spray. I'm like,
yeah.
One of the worst times I got maced is by our own people. Remember the dude nicknamed Rambo? So okay, there was these gangbangers that assaulted some people, and they decided to press charges. So we had to detain them, and the cops didn't have enough people to do it. So they basically told us to detain them. For maybe 20 minutes, we were just trying to get them to leave, even though they had hit this guy or whatever they did, kicked the car or whatever. And then when we got the call to, now you need to detain them, we knew that there was going to be trouble. So right away, we get in a big scuffle. People are punching, kicking, freaking knives, whatever. It's just going crazy. And one of our own guys, nicknamed Rambo, because he'd have like a tactical belt. He had a big ass canister, like OC spray. He just goes buck wild. And all I remember is I got the main guy that they wanted to detain. I took him down, and I just remember I was just choking him out, and I buried my head in my arms while I was doing it, and there was just orange all over, like on my forehead and everywhere. And I think you got hit, a bunch of us got hit, and we were pouring milk, and where I really messed up, I didn't realize is that night I took a shower.
Oh, so much worse. I was just going to say.
Yeah, dude, went down in my groin, though.
If you're in pepper spray, you go home and take a shower that night, it's so much worse. It reactives the pepper spray.
But it went down and got my freaking jump, man. Oh, my gosh. I was just in front of the AC.
Well, that must have been a lot of pepper spray.
Oh, this guy. He would know. Yeah. That's okay, John. You tell him, baby. You tell him,
girl. Those kinds of references do not reflect Della O Jiu-Jitsu, John Della O, Orange County Championship Wrestling, or any other
special types of jiu-jitsu's here.
Anyway,
tell him, baby.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't.
Just kidding. I'm married.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm not that kind of misogynist.
He's a nice boy.
Anyway.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, it was crazy times.
So you bounced pretty much at Boogie?
Just the Boogie, yeah. The Boogie, and then a little bit at a place called Rembrandt's with a good buddy of mine. Big Show is what he's usually known by because he looks like the Big Show, and he's freaking
because he doesn't want to tell you his real
huge,
name, so you can't press charges.
Right? Seriously, pretty much. But yeah, so a couple of times there I helped out as well. But
what is that?
What place did you bounce at? Or
I
how about here in Cali?
I tried counting last night how many places. I stopped counting at 10. All right, the first one I started bouncing at is in the mid-'90s. There's a place called Hurricanes in Main Street. Actually, that's not the very first one, but it's the first one I stayed long term. Another one was the first one was in Long Beach, and the name escapes me. I know the place isn't there anymore, but then it was Hurricanes and a place called Asia 101 which was a nightclub on in Newport Beach, right? On Friday and Saturday nights.
Was there vehicles, or it was still horse and buggy days?
I don't know. I think I met your mom in the back seat of a covered wagon.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? I'm just kidding. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's what she said. So, so I don't know. I want to say about 10 places. I bounced in a couple places up in Canada, a couple of strip clubs here, one up there. Now that is a unique experience. All right, bouncing in a strip club. Every young dude, oh yeah, half-naked chicks giving you money. What more could you ask for, right? Yeah. Then reality sets in, and you get to see just exactly how ugly life in a strip club can be.
Tell it.
I won't name the club in Western Canada, but as you know, the legal drinking age in California and most of the United States is 21 years old, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. In Canada, it's 18 or 19, depending on the province, right? The particular province I was in, it was 19.
I like that.
Oh, yeah. So, but oftentimes, and and their ID cards were not fail-safe like ours, right? You know how we have all they have them now, but they were still plastic laminate with pictures and paper inside.
Right.
And so you would get people coming in who you knew, God, this kid's pretty young. Right? And they're 17, 18 years old. You know, they're all in there with other guys who are 19. But the worst, for instance, at a strip club, you're watching the door and you're keeping an eye on things, and young guys come in.
Keeping an eye on things?
Oh, well, yeah, you get tired. Here's another thing about Canadian strip clubs, all right, at least in this province. You couldn't tip the waitresses or the dancers, so you don't throw dollar bills at them, right? And even if you did, the Canadian dollar bills and $2 bills, they're coins, so no one's going to throw friggin' metal at a stripper. You got to throw them out.
Make it rain and knock them out.
Yeah, exactly. It's hail, right? Hail!
Make it hail.
With no hand. You're like,
Yeah. So you have this young girl dancing on stage, and all these young dudes coming in to see her, right? And then every now and then you'd see someone go, I know her. She's in my homeroom class.
Oh, no.
And it was a disaster. Now, throw into the mix that prostitution is not all that illegal in that time or at that place, and you're working a strip club with young kids and, you know, prominent biker gangs having their run of things up there, right? It's a real difficult set of waters to navigate if you did not grow up there.
And for me, you're not Canadian.
Yeah. If you're not, and for me,
you know, you're out of your country.
For me, I come from a place where, you know, the cops are the law, you know, and everyone else pretty much follows the law, or they're criminals.
Yeah.
Black and white. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that gangs had the run of things, and you know, and people would always side with the criminals versus. It was just really odd, and so. You know, you beat someone down, and then everyone would look at you like, hey, why did you beat that guy up? Mm-hmm. Well, because he pulled a knife out, he knocked over a bunch of people's beer, and he threatened to shoot everyone in the place. Yeah, but he's with this certain biker gang. I'm like, so? And they're like, whoa. And then they would go into Kaiser Soze mode. Don't you know what they will do? They will go to your house. Mm-hmm. They will murder you. They will kill your family. They will kill your in-laws. They will kill your neighbors. And they'll kill anyone. You're like, oh my God, are you fucking serious?
So you're like, do you promise?
We're in Canada, right? We're in Canada, bro.
I'm like, dude, are you serious? But it was that kind of low-level thinking and high-level fear that I was amazed at, you know, the kind of drugs and violence that was tolerated up there, and it was really hard. Ultimately, I had to stop bouncing altogether because you bang someone out hard, you throw them out hard, and that's another good story. And then his buddies are there, and you're ready to go, and you go, all right, come on, bitches, let's go. And none of the bouncers got your back because they're part of that. Or his dad or his uncle is in that gang. And you're like, So what? You think it was frustrating, you know?
That was one of the things that pissed me off the most. That was my biggest pet peeve, being inside security, because the signal for help, if you didn't have comms or a radio, was the flashlight.
Yeah, you flashed it 2 times.
Yeah, and at the time, I don't know, I spent like freaking $80 on this awesome, I mean, it was bright as hell. And
Like
when you were in trouble,
Mag light or something.
and when you were in trouble, freaking, you expected, I mean, if I saw a light, it didn't matter what I was doing, I was on it. It didn't matter who, how big, whatever. Whoever's the most dangerous or the one being most violent, I would just spear them first and try to take them down or choke them or whatever.
DonBeEZe.
But actually, going back to that Marine thing I was going to tell you. So the one of the few times I got cracked good is I was cruising the dance floor, and I was always have my light out too, because what I do is I kind of just cruise the corner. People are dancing and they're getting drunk and they drop money. So if I found money, and me and a good buddy of mine, Corey Bam, we would run up on the dollar bill. We'd go, whoa, back, big, and everybody like, what's up, dude? And they just get back, and then I'd pick up the money and be like, right there, and put it in my pocket. A lot of that was mine, man. I'm like, no. So that was awesome. It was awesome. Usually just $1 or $5 bills. A couple of times it was 100. But so I was cruising the dance floor, and I just see this, because there was 2 stairways to go up, and then like ramps on the side. So the stairway closest to me on the left side, I just see 2 dudes. What I thought was 2 dudes fighting. I just see one dude just getting cracked repeatedly, about 3 times. And as soon as I see it, I immediately run to the guy that's trying to punch him. Right when I jump up the stairs, the guy's already been knocked out, so the guy just falls back on the floor. I jump up, the guy has 2 of his buddies, they're all Marines, all 3 of them are Marines. So when I jump up to the top of the stairs to go grab him, I just feel 2 arms on both sides grab both of my arms and pull me back, and the dude just cracks me as hard as he can in the jaw. So as I get hit, I just pull this guy this way and just bring them both and push him towards the stairs. Craziest, I don't know what the fuck this guy was thinking. After he cracked me, he ran fucking about 10 feet. That motherfucker turned around, and I didn't want to mess up my light. So he fucking turns around and he does like a fucking karate kata shit. He's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because I'm trying to put my light, I don't want to mess it up. So as soon as I put it in, I freaking started coming at him, and he fucking runs. I fucking oh my gosh.
You caught up to him?
Fuck. Oh. John, did you see the pictures?
Okay, sorry.
You know I didn't get my dues this month yet,
no,
sir.
I'm sure
But yeah, I caught his ass. He turned an immediate, just a pussy status. Don't call my CO. And freaking.
You know, sometimes I wonder if we could only have videos that we could look back on of our times bouncing, right?
Oh no! Like we're not even talking about stuff that that shouldn't have been recorded back then. Like we would be on the news. Like,
Well, yeah, and that's another thing.
Like if it was back then, what he's talking about and what you're talking about, like people would just be world star, like
Oh, yeah.
all day long.
If there was
We would be in
cameras,
jail.
like-
We would be in jail.
And I'll start bringing, because I remember I go around with a camera. I just take pictures of just crazy stuff. So I got a lot of pictures that I'll start bringing in. But yeah.
So like we could have something like a bouncer video review of our lives. You know what I mean? Our
That'd be
lives as
cool.
a bouncer. We could even have a segment on it.
Yeah.
We have one ready to go.
Oh.
Bouncers right now.
Okay, well,
All right, let's see
since this is a world of
You guys ready?
phone
Yeah,
Have
cams,
camera phones.
Let's
Yes.
go. Let's see.
I can't see where
see
we're
it, and
looking.
then let's judge as being professional former security people. I can't see it, but
I see a big
I
bright
just see a
light.
light. I saw a light, and then
Can you
I
put
was
it on
abducted.
behind us?
I was abducted.
It's going up.
Because I'll just look at it here.
You won't see it there.
I know. I was
Yeah, I can't.
making a joke.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that they didn't have camera phones.
Yeah,
for the
you know,
stuff
I
I'm
can't
talking about.
imagine what
I'm telling you,
what it must be like these
if
days,
You think
Johnson.
if you think 5 years that I was there, I'm telling you, we fought. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
More than twice a night.
Oh, at least. You know,
Yeah,
It's- I mean that's
Yep. And
300 fights.
yeah, and you know, there are
300
people
fights?
who can say, hey, well, you didn't square up and go at each other. No, but
Right.
when I was going out with one, someone was coming at me from behind. Or,
There was a couple
Yeah.
times where
and we have squared off, you know.
where
Dude, that
after the club closed and people had issues.
Remember that guy
They let us
dropped that
fight.
like 6'5", like 300-pound black dude, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Like dropped him. I was going into the bar to get change from the front door, and all I see is this. he was huge. That black dude, Carl's he's like 6'5", 300,
Yeah.
and all I see is his body just go whoop. And I didn't even know what happened. I just saw his knees fall out, so I knew somebody hit him. And I go there, and this dude's over the top of him screaming and yelling. I just full sprint, like you said, speared him. I didn't even know who I was hitting yet.
Yeah.
I just full sprint. This guy's like flexing on him, and I hit him. And straight as I hit him, his arm came over his head like this, and I just locked on and just started squeezing. And next thing you know, he's tapping. I'm like, no.
Sorry.
Dude was huge.
Why do
he
people
just
do
knocked-
that shit in fights?
He just knocked out a dude 6'5", 300 pounds, and I'm 185. I'm not letting him go. I was already on his neck, and I'm just like, oh, no. There's no tapping. This isn't a
you can't.
this isn't a sanctioned event, dude.
This ain't a
You just
grappling.
assaulted my coworker.
This ain't
freaking
freaking Naga. You don't get to tap out, bro.
So I put him to sleep, and they carried him back out the front door, and like, how did you take out that dude? And I was like, dude, go train. Like, he's drunk and being stupid, and I like have some type of skill.
Speaking of like big full, so there's these cats that come in and they're just all swole patrol. I didn't know none of their names, but they're all
He talks about this. He was swole patrol.
Were you Swole Patrol?
Go ahead, tell him the nickname.
So Don didn't used to look like this. Don was about 225 pounds, like of power lifter, ripped big, like, and so he had these like 22-inch arms like Hulk Hogan, and he'd walk around like this, and we walked behind our buddy Chris, and it would be Don and me, and then our buddy Chris, and it looked like he was walking his 2 Rottweilers. Because he'd be like, go get them guys, go get them. He was the manager, and he didn't put his hands on the dude unless it was like necessary, and it was often necessary. He was humongous, and probably one of the baddest dudes I ever saw in action. He's walking us like 2 little Rottweilers, and I look over at Don, and Don can't even walk straight. And I was like, he's like, you can't watch my back, bro. So I said, Don, you're the bisexual. Dude.
Okay, where we at?
The bisexual.
Like his biceps are.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up to see this because there's a.
Yeah, because I can't.
Is there audio? Okay, so we got a guy standing in there.
Yeah.
Calling out the bouncers. Telling them, here. You be the
Bouncer
bouncer,
looks like a
I'm going to
Uso.
be the guy. Never mind.
So
I've done that a few times.
So
He just cracked him.
allegedly, yeah.
Yes, clearly he used an ethnic slur.
Yeah, you can't.
I could have said he was fat.
No, because all bouncers are fat. They hear that all the time.
When I did bounce, I was.
Well, I mean, now they are. Not anymore. Now that we've left the industry.
These days, everybody has camera phones, man. So like, you can't like.
Well, look, okay,
that happened, but that wasn't typical normally. Like normally, that happened when hands were put on me first. Like,
that's
like
what
I
we were,
definitely choked a lot of people out. Like, but I normally wouldn't like just tee off on them like that from words.
Okay,
like,
now
I think I'd had a little more restraint than that.
I think that yeah.
Somebody knocked over my motorcycle one night. Remember that? I had my motorcycle parked in front, and I definitely did that. I'm not gonna lie. Statute of limitations is over now, so can't get charged for that one.
Now,
but drunk ass kicked over my motorcycle because he was pissed he got kicked out of the club.
Kicked it over.
Or he knocked it over. I don't know. I assume he kicked it over. I didn't see it. There was 2 of them. Mine and Matt. We'd parked it right out front so we could watch it at the front door. Well,
he watched them kick it over.
Did you remember when I was driving? It was around Christmas, and I bought a Santa. It was a Santa Claus that you would hang off a chimney, and I tied it to the front of my truck like I ran over Santa. And when I was parked it several weeks there, and one night some drunk ass tore the damn little Dallas Daryl, the little he drove my car. He goes, "Someone tore your Santa Claus off." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Where's that?" I don't know, but this is all that's left. And it was just a fucking leg. I'm like, motherfucker.
Okay. Now I know those of you listening, we sound like a couple of 3 steroid macho
egomaniacs.
Yeah. So I wanted to make not all stories, not all the pratfalls, and not all the interesting stories are about fighting or beating people or seeing people. I will relate this story to you though. And it starts off pretty interesting. I was working the door at Hurricanes, the front door at Hurricanes. At the time, I don't know how it is now. I haven't been back there. I'm too old to go down on Main Street now. Yeah.
Sorry.
So when you came in through the front door, you would go up 2 flights or a flight of stairs, and then another flight of stairs, and then the front door, and then you come in, right? Well, anyone knows an enclosed stairway has like a nook there, right? Like underneath where it turns back. And So, as I'm walking down, keeping an eye on things, it was a pretty busy night, so I had to go to the front to start a line, right? And as I'm moving my way from the front door to the first few steps, I hear some tussling, and out of the corner of my eye of my field of vision, I see these two guys beating up this one guy down there underneath it. I'm like, oh my God. And let me fill you in a little bit. In Huntington Beach in the summertime, a lot of the people on Main Street there will go without, dudes will go without shirts and have shorts, and you need to have shoes and shirts to get in, but the guys only bring them with them so that they can get in, right? Otherwise, guys are basically, it's the beach, they're in their shorts, they come inside, they take the shirts off and go out on the patio or whatever. So I was accustomed to seeing guys without So I come down, and I'm like, oh, those two guys are beating up that guy. So I fly down the stairs. We got a code 3 in the stairwell, code 3 in the stairwell, right? That means there's a fight in the stairwell. I come to where these two guys are beating this dude up. I pull them apart. They weren't fighting.
Oh, no.
Those three were not fighting. They were beating each other up, but they were not fighting.
Up or off?
And, at first you want to come in and be the hero, and you're in there, you're like, all right, knock it up. And all of a sudden, they all look at you like, my hero. You're like, oh, all right, you guys, look, all right. And when you're young and you don't have the capacity to deal with this in a colorful way or in a friendly way, and you're like, I'm gonna go back upstairs. Get out! Just get out! Just get out!
We're about out of time. We'll end it on there. I just want to thank Randy and John for coming in and sitting down and bullshitting with us and talking about cool, unique stories. Hopefully we'll have someone cool, and we'll have these guys again on another time. Just one last time, Randy, again with your Instagram real quick.
At Darkside BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And John?
Dello Jiu-Jitsu in Stanton, California. I don't know what the web letters are and all that. Also, those of you who are going out, all right, bring your ID no matter how old you look or how much money you make. Say please and thank you to the bouncer. Tip the wait staff. Don't be afraid to tip the bouncer.
And yeah, all that. So anyways, yeah, I'm DonBeEZe. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as DonBeEZe or Don Blackwell. And thank you very much. This has been the 86 podcast. Thank you, guys. Deuces.
I don't know what that means.
I don't
Peace
either.
out.
Peace out. Come on.